masarap magkatuta, lalo na kung may kayakap ka. Kaya dito lang tayo sa programang pasaway lang na slide. Yakapin ninyo ang Afternoon Delight.
Daming celebration today. Meron palang National Pajamas Day. Pajama nga ba? yung sinabi mo?
Sweatpants.
Sweatpants.
Oo. Sa atin ang tawag dyan ay
Ano,
jogging
jogging pants.
pants.
Oo.
Oo. Pero wala na yung mga jogging pants na uso dati, makakapal talaga. Yung talagang nasa tuhod mo palang pinapawisan na yung singit
Ay,
mo.
parang inabutan ko sa mga PE class ko yun.
Yan.
Oo.
May stripe dito na dalawa.
Talagang tagaktak ang pawis mo.
Peking Adidas.
Mga ganon. Okay, as mentioned, today is Wednesday, January 21st. At 10 days to go na lang, matatapos na ang unang buwan ng taon. Napakabilis talaga. Kamusta naman po ang pag-uumpisa ng 2026 para sa ating lahat? Napakadaming ganap, ano?
Ang galing yung tanong na yan.
Ha?
Sa umpisa ng 2026, yung first
Umpisa ng month,
wrapping up.
oo.
Eh, alam natin yan, na dahan-dahan ang makakalimutan yung pinangako sa sarili mo na Oplan, balik, alindog.
Alindog.
Kung
Uy,
may alindog to begin with,
ay, pwede namang i-build yun. Confidence naman ang kailangan.
tama. Yung salamin, bumili kayo ng, ano rin, punas-punas din ng salamin paminsan-minsan.
Uy, pero paalala natin hindi dahil, let's say, you're not on track by the month of January, pwede, kailangan
Subukan
sabihin
na kayo.
nyo, oo, next year na ulit. Pwede namang mag-start,
Next year talaga.
pwede namang any month, di ba?
Rome was not built in a day.
Oo nga.
Kinistan was not built in a day.
Ganon?
Oo. Lifetime yan ng pagtitiis, ng sakripisyo, ng pagjejeta, ehersisyo, at kung ano-ano pa. So now, let's see stories making headlines at this hour, beginning with fresh complaints against the Vice President, Sara Duterte. And our mobile journalist, Arles de los Santos, reports to us live from the office of the Ombudsman. Arles, okay, ano-ano mga kaso at sino ang nag-file nito?
Lord at Denise, alam nyo, tila multo na nga ni Vice President Sara Duterte ang samut-saring mga kaso gaya na lamang ng graft, corruption at plunder kung saan ito yung mga isinampang reklamo dito sa Office of the Ombudsman kanina ay naisinampa ng grupo na the Silent Majority kasama si dating Senador Antonio Trillanes. Ayon sa kanila, yun yung pagsasampa ng kaso na ito ay doon sa nila yung mga kapaglabag ni Vice President Sara Duterte sa culpable violation of the Constitution at betrayal of public trust. No, kaugnayan ng umano'y mga katiwaliang nangyari sa mga ahensya ng pamahalaan na pinamunuan at pinamumunuan ni Duterte. Kaya kagaya na lamang ng Department of Education at Office of the Vice President, maging yung kanyang pamunungkulan bilang alkalde ng Davao City ay kasama sa mga inireklamo. Ilan sa mga isinampang reklamo, no, yung plunder at malversation dahil sa pagkabigo umano ng bise na i-account ang 650 million pesos na confidential at intelligence funds ng OVP at ng DepEd noong 2023. Mayroon ding reklamong graft at malversation para naman doon sa 8 billion pesos na halaga daw ng mga overpriced na laptop na noon din panahon na yun, si Duterte daw ang kalihim ng DepEd. Plunder at malversation naman ang reklamo para sa 2.7 billion pesos na confidential fund doong siya pa ang alkalde ng Davao City. At ayon nga dito kay Trillanes, substantiated daw itong mga reklamo na ito. No? May mga papeles siyang sinabi na certified true copy pa daw ang ipinasa nila, kaya daw may basehan talaga at kumpiyansa sila dito sa kanilang isinampang kaso sa Office of the Ombudsman.
Okay, Arles, yung silent majority na sinasabi mong kasama ng dating senador, sino-sino yung mga members ng grupong ito?
Actually, Denise, mga pribadong individual yung kabahagi ng The Silent Majority na grupo. No? Isa itong civil society organization at advocacy group na layong isulong nga daw yung rule of law, transparency at good governance sa bansa. Ito ay lupon ng mga professional, ng academics at concerned citizens na ayon nga raw sa kanila nais bigyan ng boses yung ibang mga kasama natin sa ating lipunan, kaya tinatawag sila na silent majority, to be heard, the unheard daw. No? Focus nila yung pagmonitor ng paggamit ng public funds at yung pamamahala din ng mga opisyal ng pamahalaan. Pero mas specific sila doon, Denise, no? Doon sa sa kanilang paniniwala na yung sa kabila ng investigasyon ng flood control projects, pwede raw na isabay itong paglitis din o pagsilip ng Office of the Ombudsman sa nilang mga ilegalidad o irregularidad doon sa mga ipinasang budget processes o mga resibo ng opisina ni Vice President Sara Duterte.
Okay. Nagbigay ba ng pahayag itong sila dating Senador Trillanes o sino mang miyembro ng silent majority? Kasi marami ang nagtatanong, no, na okay, bakit sasabay pa ito sa ang dami-dami ng dapat kasuhan lalo na in connection with the flood control scandal, bakit sasabay pa ito? At considering may comparison ba sa laki, halimbawa, ng mga allegedly nakulimbat ng mga amounts?
Actually, Lord, isa sa mga binanggit nito ni dating Senador Antonio Trillanes, bakit daw yung kay dating Senador Bong Revilla, linggo lamang yung pinilang bago ilabas nga yung warrant of arrest sa kanya at ma-refer sa Sandigan Bayan, kung kumpara daw dito na ilang beses nang paulit-ulit na nababanggit at tila hindi nga raw ito binibigyan ng agarang tugon o paglilinaw ni Vice President Sara Duterte, kaya naniniwala sila na posible rin talaga na mag-coexist itong dalawa at hindi lamang daw dapat nakafocus nga doon sa investigasyon sa flood control projects ng pamahalaan, kundi gayon din sa paggamit ng pondo ng bayan.
Alright. Yung partner, siguro maganda rin tanong, no, kung yung support sa filing ng isang fresh impeachment complaint against the Vice President pagtapos ng malifting ban sa February 6.
Actually, Lord, hindi naman sinabi ni dating Senator Trillanes kung suportado niya ito or hindi. But at least he confirmed on his end na once nga raw na mag-lapse yung 1-year ban para sa impeachment case na isinasampa sa mga impeachable officials ay magkakaroon din nga raw ng separate na pagsasampa. Hindi natin sure kung kasama ba siya doon, pero may mga grupo din nga daw na naghahanda, no? And that will be on February 6 na kasabay ng paglalapse ng 1-year ban doon sa impeachment case para kay Vice President Sara Duterte.
Dito sa mga complaints, nakasama ba dyan yung sinabi nung alleged aide or ex-aide ng mga Duterte na si Ramil Madriaga?
Yes, Lord, kasama ito dahil kung matatandaan ninyo, noong nakaraang taon, noong December, ang regalo kay Vice President Sara Duterte ng ilang mga CSO din ay kaparehas halos na kaso na plunder at graft at culpable violation ng Constitution. No? Ayan yung civil service or civil society groups na kung saan mga pare at mga ibang professional, no, yung nagsampa niyan, pero yan daw yung para doon sa kaso na mga Mary Grace Piatos na mga resibo. Pero ito daw ay supplemental na complaint para doon kung saan ina-adapt na nga rin dito yung mga findings ng Quadcom, maging yung mga naging affidavit nga nito ni Madriaga na nila isa daw sa mga naging bagman ni Duterte na noong kasagsagan ng maayos ang kanilang mga koneksyon. No? So kailangan talaga nating abangan kung paano nga ba gugulong ito dahil tila kumakapal lalo yung mga papeles at mga dokumento na isinasampa para silipin nga ang mga reklamo laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte.
Arles, dagdagan ko lang, ang allegation ni Madriaga ay tumatanggap daw itong si VP ng campaign money from mga pogo, big bosses, pati na rin sa mga drug lords. Yun ang kanya. At meron daw siyang supporting evidence na nandun lamang sa cellphone, no? Na nasa safekeeping ng isang government agency. Partner.
Yes, Arles, kamusta naman yung complaints filed by groups led by Father Flavie Villanueva nung December, no, last year lang, also against the Vice President?
Yes, Denise, no, sa ngayon wala pa tayong update na nakukuha dyan, pero halos isang buwan na rin ng isinampangayan. Pero huling tugon dyan ng Ombudsman ay kailangan silipin at alamin nga yung mga basihan nito. Pero titignan natin kung this month ba or sa mga paparating buwan, magkakaroon na agad ng resolusyon at pagsisilip dito ang Office of the Ombudsman.
Alright. Ano pang ibang mga updates na dapat nating malaman sa isang opisina na sobrang busy dapat ngayon, Arles?
Sa ngayon, Lord, inaabangan natin kung magkakaroon nga ba ng press conference si Ombudsman Boyeng Remulla kaugnay pa rin syempre ng iba't ibang mga kaso na kanilang kinakaharap at kung magkakaroon pa nga ba ng ibang mga case referral, yung Independent Commission for Infrastructure. Sa ngayon, nakastandby tayo dito at abangan natin kung magkakaroon nga ba ng ibang mga pahayag at paglilinaw ang opisina na ito.
Alright, maraming salamat sa iyong update ang ating mobile journal. Arles de los Santos reporting to us live from the Office of the Ombudsman.
And as we speak, Vice President Sara Duterte is in The Hague visiting her ICC-detained father. She is yet to respond to the fresh charges against her. She, however, had this message from former President Rodrigo Duterte, who is facing a crimes against humanity case in the Netherlands.
Kanina tinanong ko siya at sinabi niya na ang message niya raw ay mabuhay ang Pilipino.
Alright, on to another story. Senate Blue Ribbon Committee Chair Ping Lacson has slammed the release of a so-called minority report on the flood control probe. He called the document drafted by the Duterte bloc of the Senate a symbol of disrespect to his panel and the entire upper chamber. And here's why Senator Lacson is quite upset.
Minority senators have released their report on the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee's inquiry into the flood control scandal. The 576-page report is based on 6 hearings conducted by the committee, 3 held when Senator Dante Marcoleta was still chair, and the remaining hearings after Senator Ping Lacson took over. The minority report identified former House Speaker Martin Romualdez along with former Department of Public Works and Highways officials Roberto Bernardo, Henry Alcantara, and Bryce Hernandez as the individuals most accountable for the alleged scheme. It also named several current and former senators accused of requesting or receiving kickbacks. Among those named were former Senator Bong Revilla and incumbent Senator Joel Villanueva. However, the report stressed that the alleged involvement of former Senator Nancy Binay, former Senate President Cheese Escudero, and Senator Jinggoy Estrada still requires more solid evidence. Estrada and Escudero are both members of the Senate minority bloc. The report further cited 17 congressmen mentioned by the so-called king and queen of contractors, Curly and Sara Diskaya. Ultimately, the minority concluded that all available evidence points to Romualdez, stating that he cannot be absolved of responsibility. But the question remains, are there higher officials involved? Here's what Marcoleta had to say.
Merong question mark nga sa makikita nyo rito. Yung arrows kasi, base sa nagtuturo sa kanya at mababasa nyo nun sa kanilang mga testimonies, individual. Talagang, for example, Gutesa, tinuro si Saldico and Martin Romualdez. Si Diskaya, nabanggit din ang pangalan ni Martin Romualdez. At yung mga iba, si Alcantara, si Bryce Hernandez, pinagtuturo kung sino-sino at papunta lahat sa direksyon ni Martin Romualdez.
Meantime, Senator Amy Marcos was absent from Monday's Blue Ribbon Committee hearing. Despite her absence, Marcos issued strong remarks on what she believes was or was not revealed during the inquiry. Senator Marcoleta, who attended the hearing, criticized it as lacking substance, saying it focused primarily on former DPWH Secretary Manny Bonoan's mismatched grid coordinates.
Wala rin na bunyag. Ayaw ko sanang magsalita ng makakasakit o makaka-offend sa aking mga kasamahan. Pero yun naman ang nakikita ng mga Pilipino. Nakikita naman natin na parang wala namang pagtutuunan nito. Laging bitin laging may kulang.
Inumpisahan na naman sa MYPS. So, anong mapaprofit natin doon? Wala. The coordinates are wrong. The discrepancies, sa kanila nga, mga 2 kilometers lang ang discrepancy. Ito sa ginawa namin, was able to find out a variance or discrepancy between 65 or 67 kilometers to 400 kilometers. It is a little bit disappointing on my part kasi I was expecting more. Lalong-lalo na nandoon si Yusek Bernardo, the former Yusek Bernardo, at nandun din si Yusek Trigib.
Senate President Tito Soto dismissed the minority report as merely a piece of paper unless taken up on the upper chamber's floor. Soto emphasized that it is official report of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee that carries weight for investigation and prosecution once adopted in plenary. He also responded to the criticisms raised by Senator Marcos and Marcoleta.
Kulang na oras kaya nga sa susunod. Di di umatin sila sa susunod para yung mga kulang, mapunuan nila.
Meanwhile, Senator Risa Ontiveros says she is satisfied with the progress of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing on anomalous flood control projects. And for details, we have our mobile journalist, Mary Mon Reyes. Mary Mon, sino-sino ang mga nairita na miyembro ng mayorya?
Lord Denise, pagdating dito, sina Senatora Amy Marcos, Senatora Dante Marcoleta, very vocal sila noong press conference dito sa Senado tungkol sa pagkabite nila sa kung paano tinugis ng Senate Blue Ribbon Committee yung investigasyon on the anomalous flood control projects at yung issue ng korupsyon. Yun nga lang, pagdating naman dito kay Senator Risa Ontiveros, so far, okay sa kanya, nasisiyahan siya at patuloy din daw siya makikiisa sa mga pagdinig. Pero na-note niya rin kanina na kung ano man yung magiging kapalaran ng Blue Ribbon, depende rin daw ito syempre sa desisyon ni Senator Ping kung kailan ang sunod na pagdinig, ano yung sunod na gagawin. Pero ang nasabi ng Senadora, may ilang mga bagay na kailangan daw pagtuunan ng pansin kasama na rin dyan. For example, tungkol doon sa supposed na house and lot na pinurchase si dating House Speaker Martin Romualdez, sabi ni Senator Risa, maganda rin daw kung sakali ipasabina yung mga dokumentong nag-cover ng change of ownership ng property na to. Doon naman sa case ni na dating Yusek Trigiv Olivar, Yusek Bernardo, na
Mary Mon, nawala yung audio ni Mary Mon kasi gumamit na ng microphone eh. Mary Mon, babalikan natin si Mary Mon Reyes, ang nagre-report from the Senate at kinikwento niya yung mga reaksyon ng ilang, of course, membro ng majority, no? Si Senator Risa Ontiveros, so nag-press conference kasi kanina, expressing some feelings about eventually, kung halimbawa magkaroon ng impeachment pag nag-start ng trial, ready na rin sila maging senator judge. At yung mga reaksyon doon sa press conference na ng ilang members naman ng minority kahapon, including Senators Marcoleta and Amy Marcos.
Tinanong din siya kung, yun nga, yung sinasabi ni Mary Mon, kung satisfied siya given the fact na parang madami daw yung nabitin. And she's saying na satisfied siya because alam naman daw niya na magkakaroon pa ng another opportunity para tuloy-tuloy pang magtanong at patuloy naman daw siyang mag-join at mag-a-attend nung mga hearing. Mamaya makakausap ulit natin si Mary Mon Reyes at tatanungin natin siya for more details. But for the meantime, here are more stories from One News this midweek. The impeachment complaint against President Bongbong Marcos has been transmitted to the office of the Speaker on Tuesday. The complaint was filed last Monday by lawyer Andre De Jesus and endorsed by House Deputy Minority Leader Jet Insay. It accuses Marcos of culpable violation of the Constitution, graft and corruption, and betrayal of public trust. This was unlike the impeachment complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte last year, which transmission and reaching plenary took about 2 months. The Bureau of Jail Management and Penology released photos of former Senator Bong Revilla's jail cell at the Quezon City Jail in Payatas. This was amid criticism that the ex-lawmaker is receiving special treatment. Revilla is currently detained while facing graft and malversation charges in connection with an alleged ghost flood control project in Bulacan. Former PNP Chief Nicolas Torre III has formally retired as a 4-star police general. This follows a National Police Commission order clearing his appointment as General Manager of the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority. The move also clears the way for PNP head Jose Nartates to assume the 4-star rank held by a police chief. And FIVOC said incandescent pyroclastic density currents, or USON, and rockfall were observed at Mayon Volcano on Tuesday night. The activity sent materials into the Miisi, Bonga, and Basud gullies with thin-to-trace ashfall reported in Legazpi City and Daraga. Alert Level 3 remains in effect over Mayon.
Alright, at this point, babalikan natin si Mary Mon Reyes. Nabitin tayo sa kanyang report kanina from the Senate. Mary Mon, okay, nasan ba tayo kanina? We're talking about na handang ipatawag muli ang or satisfied siya so far
satisfied
with the last Blue Ribbon Committee probe. Go ahead, Mary Mon.
Lord Denise, nasabi rin ng Senator Risa, since nabanggit din ng dalawang tumestigo by the names Joy and Maria, itong si dating House Speaker Martin Romualdez, the invitation still stands na maaaring pumunta o dumalo itong si House Speaker Romualdez para raw makapagpaliwanag. Then again, nakadepende rin ito sa magiging desisyon talaga at flow, pero kanina rin mariing namang pinaalala or nagpaalala itong si Senator Risa sa contractor naman na si Curly Discaya. Ang sinasabi niya kung gusto raw talagang makatulong ni Curly Discaya sa investigasyon na ginagawa o mapasailalim sa Witness Protection Program, huwag na raw iwasan yung mga tanong, tigilan na raw yun. Even yung ledger na matagal nang hinahanap, especially for the year 2016 to 2025, ang tansya kasi ng Blue Ribbon Committee, over 300 billion pesos worth ng mga proyekto ang nakubra ng mga Diskaya throughout the years. Kaya patuloy pa rin umaasa ang senadora na mailalabas itong ledger. Pero aside from that, ang sabi naman ng senadora, hindi pa raw siya sure sa next na schedule ng Blue Ribbon Committee, pero either way, kung ano yung magiging direksyon man nito, ano ang magiging kapalaran, dalawa ang nasabi ng senadora. Number one, dapat daw pagtibayin at palakasin yung mga fact-finding bodies, especially pagka nabuo na yung Independent People's Commission. As much as possible daw, itong ICI, para sa kanya, hanggat maaari, mas maganda nga raw, huwag itong mabuwag, huwag itong masira, dahil kailangan din naman daw yung investigasyon nito. At lahat naman ng manatuklasan na impormasyon ng Blue Ribbon Committee ay makakatulong para sa pagsasampa ng mga karampatang kaso.
Wala, medyo malayo sa topic, pero ano ang mga reaksyon, medyo sabihin natin, very vigorous ang pagtutol nila Tito Sen, at ni Senator Ping Lacson doon sa so-called minority report. Ano mga sinabi nila? Sino nagsabi na parang piece of paper lang daw, walang bisa daw yan, walang silbi daw yan. Kasi, at isa pa, inunahan daw, sinabit daw, pero wala naman daw natanggap yung office sila Tito Sen. Ano nga ba yung katotohanan, Mary Mon?
Lord, kasi ang pinaka-proseso daw dito, bago magkaroon ng minority report, dapat yung Mother Committee ang maglalabas muna ng committee report nito. Kaya ng reason, kaya sabi ni Senate President Tito Soto, yung quote-unquote minority report na supposedly pinadala ng minority sa opisina ni SP Soto around December, ni-refer na lang nila, finorward daw nila ito sa Blue Ribbon Committee. Sabi rin kanina ng ni Senator Risa Hontiveros, dati daw nung sa kanila sa minority kasama si former Senator Coco Pimentel, tungkol naman ito sa isang kaso naman na inimbestigahan din ng Blue Ribbon Committee, sugar smuggling ito. Hinintay din daw muna nila naglabas yung Blue Ribbon Committee, tsaka sila naglabas ng kanilang minority report, and then in return nagkasama yon yung committee report plus yung minority report. So on this case, ang nasabi ni SP Soto, may piece of paper pa lang ito. So since 500 pages siya, pieces of paper pa lang ito dahil wala pa yung pinaka-committee report ng Blue Ribbon Committee unless it will be taken up on the session floor. Pero sa ngayon, wala pa tayong impormasyon tungkol dyan unless magkakaroon ng changes sa session by January 26, Monday next week.
Okay, meron cambio lang ako ng konti. Sabi ng DOJ, ngayong araw raw, ililipat ang custody ni dismissed contractor Henry Alcantara mula sa Senate detention patungo sa Witness Protection Program. Anong balita mo dito?
Denise, kanina 12:51 PM, nakaalis na dito sa Senado itong si dating District Engineer Henry Alcantara. At hindi nga lang tayo nakalapit kasi medyo naging limited yung for the safety and security na lang nitong personalidad. Pero wala namang naging pagpupumiglas, naging smooth yung pag-alis mula sa kustodiya ng Senado. Nasabi rin naman nung mga lumipas na araw ni SP Soto na authorized naman na raw nila yun. Hinihintay na lang talaga nila yung pinaka-transfer. Pero ang nasabi rin ng DOJ, sila lang ang may alam ng specific location kung saan dadalhin itong si Henry Alcantara para sa kaligtasan niya, lalo't nakapailalim siya sa Witness Protection Program.
Alam mo, so wala na matitira doon sa baba, Mary Mon?
Si Curly Discaya lang, yung contractor na lang na si Curly. At yun yung sinasabi naman kanina ni Senator Risa na kung gusto raw na mapasailalim na sa WPP o makatulong talaga sa isinasagawang investigasyon, magsabi na raw talaga ng totoo, wag na raw umiwas doon sa mga tanong na ibinabato sa kanya tuwing may pagdinig ang Blue Ribbon Committee. So, ngayon, yung mga kasama sa kustodiya, mga custody mates ni Curly, nagsialisan na. Si Curly na lang ang nananatili dito. At sabi naman ni SP Soto, parang ang mangyayari kung sakali magkakaroon ng arrest warrant na laban dito kay Curly, ibibigay na nila yung custody, transfer na nila. Pero hanggat ongoing din yung investigasyon ng Blue Ribbon at wala pa naman itong mga arrest warrant or other needed transfers kay Curly at mananatili siya sa kustodiya ng Senado.
Oo, bago ito. Huwag niyo rin muna kasi nakawan.
Mabilis
modern
lang.
day robbery daw.
Oo nga, madaming nagulat doon. Sige, dahil sinabi na yun ni Lord, alam din ba niya, Mary Mon, alam mo ba kung kung anong reaksyon niya
Sa mga reaksyon
sa mga
ba?
reaksyon ng mga medyo na bad vibes sa kanya.
Ako wala, Denise, kasi nung pinakapagdinig ng Blue Ribbon, nung nagsasalita na itong si Curly, doon niya pa nga nasabi na parang sila pa raw ang tila nananakawan sa sitwasyon na to. Medyo uminit yung ulo ni Senator Risa nung na-bring up yan kanina at nasabi niya na ito sila pa raw ang nanakawan. So ito raw ba yung parang yung mga magnanakaw na nagpapanggap bilang biktima. Pero throughout the duration ng pagdinig, at the end kasi pinili na lang ni Curly Discayan na hindi na magsalita kasi ang natatakot daw siya, baka ma-put behind bars din daw siya, tulad ng kanyang misis na si Sara Discayan.
Alright. So, thank you na tayo kay Mary Mon Reyes. May bagong mikroponong hawak ngayon. Saan galing yung mic na yan, Mary Mon?
Sa opisina natin, ito na ang gagamitin natin sa field.
Alright. Nako. So, kahit may props man o wala, may mic o wala, teleporter na reporter pa rin itong si Mary Mon Reyes. Thank you. Thank you sa iyo, Mary Mon Reyes, ang ating mojo sa Senado. At this point, we need to take our first break, and as we do so, we bring you global headlines from the Associated Press. At magbabalik pa rin po ang Afternoon Delight.
This is AP News Minute. A U.S. citizen in Minnesota says immigration agents forced him out of his home in freezing weather in only his underwear. Chong Lee Tao was detained and released. The Homeland Security Department says it was seeking convicted sex offenders. Tao disputes this, saying he lives with his family and none of them are listed as offenders. President Donald Trump said on Monday night that he doesn't care about the Nobel Peace Prize. In a message released by Norway, Trump linked his aggressive Greenland stance to the decision not to award him the prize. Trump also said Russian President Vladimir Putin has been invited to join the Board of Peace. That group will supervise the next phase of the Gaza peace plan. More than 100 vehicles smashed into each other or slid off an interstate during a snowstorm in western Michigan. State police said nobody died, but there were many injuries.
This is still Afternoon Delight on One News. Ako po si Lord de Vera.
At ako naman po si Denise Tan. Magandang hapon pong muli.
Thank you for staying with us. On to the news. The Justice Department confirms that former DPWH District Engineer Henry Alcantara will be transferred to the Witness Protection Program today. Prior to this, the DOJ said they are still working out operational and security concerns in transferring his custody. And here is the report.
The Department of Justice says it will still send a formal request to the Senate to take custody of former DPWH District Engineer Henry Alcantara. This comes after the DOJ confirmed that Alcantara is now being treated as a state witness and has already been admitted into the Witness Protection Program, or WPP. Justice Secretary Frederick Vida said they are still working out operational and security concerns in transferring Alcantara's custody, stressing that authorities must be cautious in handling critical witnesses.
So we're making arrangements. We don't want to preempt, no? Kasi tandaan nyo, may mga security concerns. We should be err on the side of caution. Diba? So medyo ingat tayo. Kasi remember, diba, they are critical witnesses and they hold pieces, very important pieces of evidence for us to prove our case, no? Against the accused. So medyo ingat tayo. Dagdag ingat tayo.
Meanwhile, 3 other state witnesses, former DPWH Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo, former DPWH NCR Director Gerard Opolencia, and contractor Sally Santos are also under the Witness Protection Program. But the DOJ said it is still not final where they will be housed, as their movements are being strictly monitored for security and trial preparations.
They can be granted protective custody by the WPP. Okay, hindi pa po napapag-usapan kung saan sila i-house. Okay? So right now, they're at liberty to roam and to travel wherever they want. Diba? But of course, yung movement nila is strictly monitored by the WPP dahil kailangan po nila humarap eh. Diba? Kailangan po nila humarap bilang state witness eventually once trial commences.
The DOJ also confirmed that the preliminary investigation is ongoing for 6 complaints linked to alleged ghost flood control projects in Bulacan. The complaints include malversation through falsification of public documents, direct bribery, graft, and other offenses. Respondents have until January 26 to submit their counter affidavits. The DOJ also said it expects to issue subpoenas soon in the plunder complaint filed against former DPWH Secretary Manuel Bonoan and Senator Jinggoy Estrada. Bonoan has returned to the country and appeared in a Senate hearing. The DOJ said there is still no whole departure order against him, but with a plunder complaint now filed, authorities say it will no longer be easy for him to leave the country.
Alam po natin ngayon na since may kaso na siya na plunder among other charges, then mas strict na po ang pag-monitor ng galaw niya at hindi na po siya basta-basta lang makakapag-exit ng bansa. Categorically speaking po, syempre his right to travel cannot yet be impaired because wala pang HDO. But I don't think that it will be prudent for him to exit the country, especially knowing the fact that there is a plunder case against him filed with the DOJ already.
China's new ambassador to the Philippines, Jing Chuan, has defended Beijing against what he called groundless attacks. Speaking at a Chinese embassy event, Jing urged for diplomatic talks to manage tensions in the South China Sea. He said the Philippines does not need to choose sides between China and the U.S. and can maintain relations with both. This comes after Beijing filed a diplomatic protest against Philippine Coast Guard spokesperson Jay Tariela over an alleged caricature of President Xi Jinping used in a presentation.
The best option is to sit down for talks and solutions in a diplomatic way. So at present, our diplomats from the two sides, they're working very hard toward this goal. And I have already reached some consensus on a roadmap for the next stage dialogue and negotiation.
And we also give you a quick look at stories from our media partners. On the Philippine Star, the Interior and Local Government Department is not discounting the possibility that gambling tycoon Charlie Atong Ang could have already flown out of the Philippines. This is why the DILG has ordered the PNP to coordinate with their counterparts abroad, including the International Criminal Police Organization, or Interpol, to help search for and arrest the businessman. Ang remains the only one at large among suspects in the missing Sabongeros case. Self-proclaimed whistleblower Julie Dondon Patidongan earlier said that his former boss, Ang, has left the country as early as December 2025. Meantime, Business World is reporting about initial results from 2 Malampaya gas drilling programs expected within the quarter. These are active drilling sites Camago 3 and Bagong Pag-asa 1 wells. This week, President Marcos announced the discovery of natural gas off Malampaya in Palawan, equivalent to roughly 14 billion kilowatt hours of electricity a year. That's enough power for about 5.7 million households or 9,500 buildings or about 200,000 schools per year. For more details of these stories, you can visit the social media pages of the Philippine Star and Business World. Do check out as well the social media platforms of One News PH for the very latest news.
All right, moving on, President Marcos led the Thanksgiving and homecoming event for athletes who competed in the 33rd Southeast Asian Games. And for details, we have our MOA journalist, Julie Baiza. Julie, okay, at least pahinga ng konti sa politika, usapan naman. At least mga iba, palakasan naman ang ating topic ngayon. Okay, may mga incentives bang binigay ang Malacanang sa mga nakasungkit ng medalya, Julie?
Yes, Lord, kanina nga dinaluhan ni na Pangulong Bongbong Marcos at First Lady Liza Arneta Marcos yung pasasalamat at parangal para sa mga bayaning atleta. Doon inanunsyo ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos yung karagdagang cash incentives sa mga nanalong atleta sa nagdaang 33rd Southeast Asia na Games at para sa mga gold medalists, mabibigyan sila ng 300,000. 150,000 sa silver at saka 60,000 naman para sa bronze. Ang sabi ng Pangulo, Pinapalawak pa rin daw nila yung grassroots at saka mga youth sports program. Dinadagdagan yung mga pasilidad at saka pinalalakas yung suporta sa mga atleta natin na lumalahok sa pandaigdigang entablado. Ginagawa raw yan para hubugin yung mga susunod na henerasyon ng atleta ng bansa na may paniniwala sa sarili at saka handang lumaban para nga sa ating bandila. Binigyang halaga ng Pangulo yung disiplina, hindi lang daw para manalo sa mga nilalabanan, kundi para na rin daw sa paghubog ng pagkatao at saka ng pamumuhay ng mga atleta.
Alright. Tanong kay Julie.
Julie, meron bang minention about, I know you already said na yung grassroots program, pero meron din masinabi about the continuous, I guess, support outside of the season or yung what do you call this, competition schedule, katulad nung dagdag salary or dagdag, hindi salary, what do you call that? Yung allowance nila monthly para kumbaga to sustain their needs then outside of training.
Hindi binanggit ng Pangulo yan specific yung mga allowances doon sa kanyang talumpati. Pero kasi nagkaroon tayo ng pagkakataon na makausap yung mga gold medalists. Halimbawa, sina Yumir Marshall at saka si Agatha Wong. Sinabi nga nila na very satisfied naman sila doon sa tulong na ginagawa ng gobyerno. Nararamdaman naman daw nila. And sa ngayon, tuloy-tuloy pa rin naman daw. Ang pinoint out din ni Agatha kanina, ang nakikita rin niya na pangailangan actually yung sa grassroots level at saka yung mga youth sports program para mas ma-promote pa nga yung sports at makita yung talento ng mga kabataan.
Oh, maiba naman tayo, Julie. Okay, ano yung activities ng Pangulo ngayon? Kasi kahapon, 5 meeting daw, no? At yung sa 5 meeting na yun ba, may aasahan na ba tayo mukhang magkakaroon ng suporta yung anti-dynasty bill?
Inaantay pa rin natin kung ano yung magiging update tungkol dyan sa anti-dynasty bill. Hindi rin tayo nagkaroon ng pagkakataon na makausap ang Pangulo kaninang umaga. Mula Intramuros, lumipad si PBBM patungo naman ng Cotabato City. So katatapos lang nung event sa Cotabato kung saan dinaluhan nga ng Pangulo yung 7th founding anniversary ng BARM. Binibigyang halaga doon sa founding anniversary sa pagdiriwang yung ongoing efforts para sa mas malakas at mas resilient na Bangsamoro. Bahagi rin ng mga aktibidad, yung pamamahagi ng iba't ibang tulong at saka yung rollouts ng mga program sa rehiyon.
Ang anti-clear ba natin ay may statement tungkol sa final na yung sinabi ng kanyang kapatid na si Senadora Amy tungkol doon sa sinabi sa final impeachment case against the President?
Hindi pa naglalabas ng bagong pahayag, anumang pahayag si Yuse Claire Castro ngayong araw. Antabayan na natin baka bukas kasi may mga or mamaya kasi meron tayong mga hinihingi din for reaction. For example, yung sinasabi nga na niluluto na another impeachment complaint or yung mga magpa-file ng panibago. So yan pa yung mga ipinipila natin for reaction.
Alright. Kung wala nang tanong ang aking partner, magpapasalamat kami sa iyo, ang ating mobile journal, Julie Baiza, nagre-report mula sa Malacanang.
Now still in sports, Team Philippines opened their 13th ASEAN Para Games campaign with 2 gold medals in Thailand. And for the latest, we have mobile journalist Denise Valdesancho. Denise, what's the latest?
Well, Denise, live na live tayo dito at Terminal 21 Karad and Nakhon Ratchasima, Thailand. And yes, Team Philippines is off to a strong start at the 13th ASEAN Para Games after securing its first gold medals of the meet. That's a Paralympic swimmer, Gary Behino, that led the charge, setting a new game record of 5 minutes and 32.8 seconds to win the men's 400-meter freestyle S6 final. This is Behino's 4th gold medal in the ASEAN Para Games. And it was a back-to-back gold finish for Philippine swimming, with fellow Paralympian Ernie Gowilan claiming his 10th overall ASEAN Para Games gold after clocking 5 minutes and 2.39 seconds in the men's 400-meter freestyle S7. Those results, Team Philippines now sits 4th in the medal tally. Meanwhile, in wheelchair basketball here right now, the Philippines settled for back-to-back silver medals earlier in the men's and women's 3x3 events, both losing to host Thailand. But still, it was a historic podium finish for the Filipinas Lady Warriors, marking their first ever medal in the event. At this hour, we're also monitoring para-powerlifting with action continuing today in para-cycling road, para-fencing, 10-pin bowling, and para-athletics, including events featuring Paralympians Senia Susano and Gerald Pete Mangliwan. Lord Denise.
Ano para sa iyo, Denise, yung parang pinaka-fascinating na sport dyan sa Paralympic Games?
I got to witness earlier 3x3 basketball, and I was able to talk to some athletes prior. Pero first time ko kasi makikita, Lord, yung action mismo ng wheelchair basketball. And it fascinated me because the athletes are sitting on a wheelchair, and it's very not like the usual basketball that we see that's very jam-packed. And you get to see the athletes using their hands to turn the wheel. At the same time, no, ginagamit nila yung utak nila and all their power to shoot the ball. So it really fascinated me because aside from that, you also have to think about your team. And yun nga, I usually cover basketball kasi, so it really fascinated me na this is really possible even for our para-athletes.
Kami ng tita Denise mo, napafascinate kami sa yung football.
Oo.
Kasi tunog lang yung
That's
inaano,
right.
no?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Denise, I wanted to ask kung may nakausap ka ng para-athlete about we are showing their matches live, that them receiving this kind of support, comparing it to the athletes na we recently covered just last month.
Yes, yesterday we got to talk to our flag bearer, Paralympian Gerald Pete Mangliwan, and of course our chef de mission, Sir Goody, who talked about this extreme support that the para-athletes also received. Just recently, PSC also confirmed that they also got additional 6,000 pesos, just like how they treated our SEA Games athletes. And it's very meaningful for our para-athletes, for the para-athletes community, because ito yung biggest delegation yet for our para-athletes in the ASEAN Para Games. That's almost or more than 300 delegates, 200 plus na para-athletes, and it just goes to show that it's continuously growing. And more than that, no, maraming pumapasok na bago at mas pabata ng pabata yung mga nagiging interesado sa para-sports in the Philippines.
So far, may dalawang medals may dalawang
right.
ginto na tayo,
Oo.
courtesy of our swimmers.
At saka maganda nga kasi we're showing it actually live, the games. Kasi we always, and Denise knows this as well, na yung mga atleta, as much as they appreciate the fact na pinapakita yung mga laban nila, syempre gusto rin nila na nalalaman yung storya nila, who they are outside of being an athlete. Okay, Denise, meron pa bang mga abangan in the coming days? Sorry.
Yes, in the coming days, binabantayan namin, you mentioned kanina, football. Although wala tayong blind football, no, we have cerebral palsy football. So binabantayan din natin yan. And of course, sunod-sunod din yung games in athletics, cycling, and other events pa in the coming days. But for today, marami pa tayong medal matches na abangan. Again, I mentioned para-athletics. Dahil medyo bigatin to, we have Paralympians here such as Miss Senia Susano for javelin throw. And of course, Sir Gerald Pete Mangliwan for wheelchair racing. So a lot to happen hanggang mamayang gabi.
At solo si Denise dyan sa Thailand.
Pwede akong pumunta rin
Pwede
para
ka
samahan
sumunod,
ka, pero huli
Oo.
yata yung lahat Alright.
Alright, thank you very much again. That was our mobile journalist, Denise Valdez Sancho.
Alright, this is still Afternoon Delight on One News. Time out muna. Promise, marami pa kaming kwento sa inyo sa aming pagbabalik. At sa pagbabalik namin, ihigop kami ng mainit at sabihin natin mataba. Babalik po ang Afternoon Delight.
January 21st, 1793. In Paris, the French Revolution turns bloody as King Louis XVI, condemned for treason, is executed on the guillotine. 1924, Vladimir Lenin, the Russian revolutionary who founded the Soviet Union, the world's first communist state, dies in Moscow. 1950, in New York, a case sets a flashpoint in American politics during the early years of the Cold War. Alger Hiss, a former State Department official accused of being part of a communist spy ring, is found guilty of lying to a grand jury. Hiss, who always maintained his innocence, serves less than 4 years in prison. 1977, President Jimmy Carter pardons almost all Vietnam War draft evaders, keeping this promise he made on the campaign trail.
And I'm not going to say whether those young people were guilty or not guilty. I'm just going to say what you did, whether it was right or wrong, you're forgiven for it. Come on back home.
1976. The supersonic Concorde jet roars into service for the first time, beginning a run that lasts for nearly 3 decades. And 1942. Count Basie and his orchestra, one of the most popular big bands in the U.S., record their hit 1 O'Clock Jump. Today in history, January 21st. Tim McGuire, The Associated Press.
The city.
7 years after the Game of Thrones finale, the battle for Westeros is far from over. This time, instead of dragons destroying everything, a knight and his young squire take center stage in this dangerous world of Westeros. In the highly rated spin-off, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Of course, One News got the first look. This series doesn't focus on dragons or massive wars. Rather, it follows the adventures of a knight, Sir Duncan the Tall, and his young squire Egg, a true-blooded Targaryen, on the run from the kingdom. On set, they said they became like brothers.
We had 2 months of prep before we started filming, and then we were just hanging out together. We got to meet each other every time we were like horse riding, and I was a massive Game of Thrones fan before this, so to be any part of it, never mind like the friggin' lead of it, was just a dream come true.
We bounce off each other in that, and the way he acts on the day, it affects my acting, and personally I think it makes it better.
Like a big brother.
Yeah.
Known for their blonde hair, the Targaryens are iconic. So Dexter made headlines when he shaved his head to fit his role as Egg. Literally, to make his head look like an egg. Dexter also said it's great to see the story from the perspective of ordinary Westerosi.
A different journey, a different trip. Usually you see all the highborn people and all the amazing people, but you don't realise what's happening at this place.
While Game of Thrones episodes are over an hour long, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is short and sweet, just over 30 minutes per episode. Based on the stories of George R.R. Martin, the events happen almost 100 years before Game of Thrones. The series is available now on HBO Max. Kapatid MJ Marfori, we are One News.
And we thank you for staying with us, and you're still watching Afternoon Delight.
At dahil ang delight of the week natin ay pagkaing may sabaw, our delight of the day ay bulalo. Teka, nako, sorry Direk. Ayan. Ito yung bulalo natin. Hindi nakita yung sabaw kasi...
Ikaw taga Batangas ka.
Ano?
Ano saan masarap na bulalo doon sa inyo?
Ha? Hindi ko alam. Homemade lang kasi mga... Pag umuwi kami ng Batangas, usually, talagang we stay with our relatives. So, lagi may pagkain.
Ang sukatan ko ng masarap na bulalo
ay
yung kapag medyo lumamig na ng konti, yung magsesebo na agad.
Gusto mo yung magsesebo?
Matagal siyang pinakuluan.
Ayun.
At yung kanyang utak ay kumalat na. Pero alam mo, kung bakit, meron bang equivalent ng bulalo sa mga kapitbahay natin? O specific lang talaga sa Batangas? Kasi, kaya inimet yung bulalo kasi yung mga baka natin, sobrang muscular, overworked at mga payat. Hindi sila parang yung mga rib-eye na mga Kobe beef, ano. Kaya naka-device na paraan na palambutin siya ng matagal.
Pero ang sarap-sarap ng bulalo, not just for cold weather, no? Pero it's so nutritious na may beef.
Kompleto na to.
Oo, kompleto. Tapos may gulay ka and then you pair it up with rice. So, actually, kahit anong oras sa araw, no, pwede mong kainin yan.
Huwag naman merienda. Pwede rin naman. Kunin mo yung corn.
Yun ang yung merienda mo.
Oo. Alam mo, may time noon na madalas kami sa Tagaytay. Parang nasanay na ako na pag may bulalo, nahawa ko yung greasy na plato at greasy na table.
Sige, habang intayin natin ang verdict mo dyan sa bulalo. Daanan na rin natin ang ating mga Stories on social media. On the Philippine Star via Life, Likhang Filipino. Now open. It is a permanent home for everything Pinoy made. This is a 365-day-a-year destination, a home for over 200 exporters and nearly 2,000 products ranging from high fashion statement pieces to artisanal pantry
Oo,
staples.
kompleto yan. At tin mo yung design partner, oh. Ano yan, oh, ratan?
Uy, natutuwa nga ako. Gusto ko nga po.
Mga taga-Design Center Philippines, mga taga-Sitem, sila ang nasa likod niya. At yung compound na yan gusto kong dalawin kasi dyan mo makikita na may taste ang Pinoy kung gugustuhin.
So, ang ganda kasi open to the public for them to appreciate yung gawa ng Pinoy. Oo, ayan. So, sana mapuntahan yan. Again, it is open 365 days a year.
O yun. Sige, habang inaayos natin,
Ayan.
magapang sa likuran ko, ano ba nangyari sa ating mikropono?
Oo, sige, puntahan na lang natin ang susunod nating...
Baterya. Sige lang.
Oo,
Yung pala
storya.
muna lang. Yan.
Ayan, didikit ako sa'yo para madinig ka. On CNN Travel, list of resolutions to be better global citizens and travelers in 2026. Note also of...
Commandment number 1.
Nako, ito yung I'll respect local culture and I certainly won't lie about my nationality or go bothering remote island
Oo,
communities.
kasi may mga Amerikano na turista na kinahihiya yung kanilang pagiging Amerikano because of Trump at sinasabing Canadian daw sila.
Ganun ba yun?
Tapos, pangalawa,
Ito, I won't try to turn every experience into social media content. Alam mo, ako dito, agree ako dito. Oo.
Kasi parang you're missing the genuine thrill of experience. Kasi ang utak mo, parang sa konserto,
Oo.
nainis ako sa ganun, parang nakatutok sa phone. Yung phone, imbis na manood sila,
Nasa phone lahat.
phone nila, oo. Tapos, yung genuine na connection ninyo ng performer, nawawala.
Honestly ako, hindi ko alam if it comes with age or parang mas gusto mo na lang talaga enjoy moment. Kahit minsan nasa party or bakasyon, of course, you would try to capture more dahil syempre, di ba, hindi mo naman alam kung kailan ka makakabalik doon. Pero not every snack, not every drink needs to be posted, I guess.
Depende rin.
Pero kanya-kanyang trip yan eh.
Kung may gusto kang inggitin o pagsilosin, hindi man
Ayun.
gumagawa ng ganyan. Itong pangatlo, sorry ko nga busa ng pangatlo.
I'll avoid the temptations of sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Pero the only way to avoid temptation, sabi ni Oscar Wilde, is to give in to it. Oo. Kasi, ito sa totoo lang, umaangal na raw ang mga Hapones sa mga Pinoy na turista na pumupunta ng Japan.
Bakit? Specifically sa
May
Pinoy?
sa Kyoto. Ngayon, tiniterrorize naman doon ng Pinoy ngayon, Tokyo. So, nakakahiya. Medyo sorry ha. Pero kasi parang ang ingay daw ng mga, yun nga, binabother nila yung mga locals, picture ng picture kung saan-saan, pipitikan yung isang naka-traditional costume, hindi nagpapaalam, mga ganyan. At kung saan-saan, puro kalat daw. Yan ang sabi nila.
Ako yung kalat. Sa Japan, para naman, sanay sila na they have their reusable bags, tapos dala nila yung trash nila everywhere. Up until they get home. Actually, ganun daw yung common practice dun eh. For them to segregate their trash as well. Okay, next. I won't break precious artifacts. Nako, sana naman. I won't break precious artifacts, swim where I shouldn't, or release fluids where I shouldn't.
Anong, na-specify ba kung anong klaseng fluids yan?
Oo. Well, regardless, kahit pasabihin natin na juice or tubig or kung ano man yan, wag basta-basta magkalat, wag basta-basta magbuhos ng kung ano kung saan-saan.
Pwede.
Diba?
Oo. Lahat ng klaseng fluids, pero lang luha.
Luha, pwede. Kung sobrang ganda nung nakita nyo,
Yes.
why not? Okay, I won't smuggle or steal, whether it be Belgian cobblestones or Australian wombat.
Ano yun man yung wombat sa bahay mo, di ba? Eto, nakakatawa. I will not cause a ruckus. 30,000 feet.
Nako.
Kasi pala, maraming angal na ang mga airline. Mga sumasakay na lasing. Ayan. Mga magugulo. Basta, may isa nga. Ito kailangan bumalik ng eroplano kasi may nakalimutan siya.
Ano?
Yung passport niya.
Oh.
Passport ng piloto.
Totoo ba?
O, yan yung
Oo.
end part ng article. Ito pa pala, kasi issue ngayon sa maraming bansa, lalo na sa Japan, di ba sa kanila pa naman yung personal space,
Yes.
sagrado yun. Sa tren, halimbawa, nakalagay dyan sa article yung ginagawa ng iba yung may fine at may penalty na ngayon ang mga nakikinig ng music sa kanilang mobile device na naririnig ng lahat. Buti sana kung ang ganda ng taste ninyo, di ba? Hindi naman.
You know how disciplined they are? Bumisita kasi ako siguro mga a few months ago lang sa Japan, ano. May mga nakasabay ako sa tren na wala silang earphones. They're watching something, pero naka-mute.
Yes.
As in, pinapanood lang nila, naka-on lang yung caption para to not disturb everyone else.
Di ba? Ganun yun eh. Dito hindi eh. Alam mo, ito sa totoo lang wala namang law against it, pero in Tokyo, alam mo, the shirt would be considered rude. Visually rude. Kung makita mo yung mga damit ng mga Muji, mga Uniqlo, di ba? Very tempered, black, puti, gray, mga gano'n lang, ano? Pero hahabol tayo ng happy birthday kay Mrs. Ladja, si Lulut. Happy birthday, Lulut.
Hi!
Anong regalo sa'yo ni Lovey Dubs?
Lovey Dubs. Happy
Marion.
birthday!
Happy birthday.
Naalala ko pa yung sinabi mo last year.
Oo.
Pero kayo na lang mag-usap ni,
Pirahin mo na lang. Happy birthday, Lulut.
Happy birthday! Hope you enjoy your day.
January 20 sa States, 20 ngayon, di ba? So, happy birthday.
Okay, at meron pa ba? Bukas na lang, bawi tayo sa pagbati natin. That will have to do it for us this Hump Day, Wednesday, January 21. Thank you for watching Afternoon Delight. Ako po si Denise Tan.
Join us again tomorrow, 2 p.m. Ako po si Lourdes Vera, kapatid. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Have a delightful afternoon.